Yeah, it's become apparent that I triggered someone. Uh, I've been told I've done that to a few people on a few occasions. Go figure. Um, recently I talked about, people with, their character, heart full of hate, wishing death on people, and how I view them with a very low opinion of them, and how I have the same low opinion of others that I like them, agree with them, think they're great people. And, because deep down inside, that tells me what their character is about as well. Water seeks its own level, birds of a feather. You know the terminology. And I guess I triggered someone. And that was the main heart of the issue. Um, I've talked about scammers on here that will use, sick kids like the Crypt Keeper, to build a channel. And what are they doing out of their own pocket? You know, what are they doing from themselves? Like I said with the Crypt Keeper, not once has he told people to call St. Jude's and make a donation. One time, set up, an ongoing monthly contribution like I do and I've been doing, with them, Shriners, Wounded Warriors, ASPCA for over 10 years now. You know, it's like $2,400 a year. I've been doing, every year. I've given close to $30,000 so far, and it'll continue, you know. And it was just to make a point about, people that want to give, but somehow they don't really want it to come from their own pocket. They want others to, give, for them. Well, call St. Jude's. Call them. I myself, I think twice, have put up the phone numbers for these 4 worthy causes that I give to, and I tell you to call. Don't sit back, so someone can build their channel, and then they're going to do it for you? Okay. Why can't you do it yourself? People don't like it when I say this. Hey, that's tough shit, pal. I brought in, charity issue, but that was not the issue at hand. And I guess I triggered this person again. And I heard about it yesterday, and I went and I watched. I guess he wasn't drunk this time, but he kept spitting on the floor. Every now and then he put his head down and spit. I guess he thought he was in a baseball dugout or something, or on the mound. Force of habit, I guess. Anyway, I guess he got triggered because he had to get back to me. He had to validate himself, people that doubt his character. And he showed, checks that people donated for his cause. And it is a worthy cause. You may not know this. World knows this. Everybody here knows this. My younger brother has cystic fibrosis. Back when he was born, they really didn't know what it was. They called it bad asthma. And he had a lot of problems. He almost died several times. In our bedroom, when I was young, we had twin beds. My parents, and they had to pay for it. The insurance didn't pay for it at the time. It was called an ultrasonic nebulizer. It was like a little plastic tent that was set up over his bed, and it had a machine next to it. And there was a medicine that my parents had to add to water in a tank, and it put out a vapor mist, and it was very cool. It was kind of cold in there from that vapor mist, and that was to help open his lungs to breathe. And he had to do that every night for several years. And then new medical advances came along. They found that certain types of steroids, he got steroid injections for many years. And I remember when he was little, being at Boston Children's Hospital, when he was like 3 years old. And they called a priest into the room, give him his last rites. They said he wouldn't make it through the night. And he did. He wasn't expected to live to be 10 years old at that time. There's been a lot of medical advancement these days in many types of disease. And that's a good thing. Well, he's 52 years old now. And he's fairly healthy. He has little coughing spells now and then. Get a little winded at certain things, but, he's alive and well and has a family. So, I make no joke about disease. And, person needed to validate himself. But, with Sanford's pickle sniffers, I find the same type of tactical behavior in a lot of different areas. Whenever I pulled up Sanford on, hey, what happened to this project? What happened to that project? His pickle sniffers don't want to address the topic, the subject at hand. They will not discuss his failed projects and his projects he never started. It's like they have a rehearsed script. Oh yeah, Cabral, what are you building? Whoa, wait a minute. I'm not the one that's been on here putting out claims of builds, and I'm going to get this to run a 10. I'm going to turn this into a dirt bike. I'm going to get this to run an 11. I'm not the one that's done that. He's done that. I'm just talking about what he has said with his projects and claims to get clicks, to get views, to make money, and doesn't go through with his projects and his claims. This is the subject they do not want to talk about. It's deflect and distract, and that's Sanford's behavior. This guy's doing the same thing. He did not want to address the hate part, the poor character part. Did not want to address it. He chose to deflect and distract over to, look at all the good I do. That's great. And that's kind of like, goes back to what I said about, well, you got a next door neighbor, that's a pedophile. If you think he's a great guy because he's good to your kids, he's not raping them, therefore he's a good guy. That tells me that you're willing to overlook that poor behavior. I guess your behavior is just as poor. Tells me all I need to know about you. He's okay with this hater that, it tells me he, deep inside, he'd like to see women and children being shot and mowed down at the border. He'd like to see a certain, group of people in a certain political stance. He'd like to see them, killed, wiped off the face of this fucking country. He'd be okay with it, just like this other guy would want it to happen. He hopes it happen. He wishes it to happen. This was the main point. All I talked about was what I do for these 4 charities. I didn't get into the VTH aspect of it. I do 2 days a week. Me, Gary, and Frank, we cover 6 days a week. Sunday is everybody's free day. There's a lot that goes on that I do. And what I said about the charity aspect. What comes out of your pocket? I spoke about what comes directly out of my pocket in these 4 causes. This is something else that comes out of my pocket. And other things that have come out of my pocket concerning the VTH. We donate our time, the 3 of us. We don't have a plaque hanging on the wall. We're not being honored. They're not throwing benefit dinners for us to honor us and give us a trophy for the work we do and our contribution to the VTH for our fellow veterans. What we get is a smile, a handshake, a hug, and a thank you, and that's more than enough. That's more than enough for us. But they do their little part here and there to help out financially. We get private contributions from people in the city, businesses. I can't lay any claim to that because it's their money. It didn't come out of my pocket. This guy's showing a lot of checks. Oh, this company gave this, that company gave that. Oh, look, here's one for me for $2,500. That's about what I give every year to those 4 causes. Now we get to the VTH. I'm a little more fortunate than Gary and Frank. So, when Uncle Dave died a few years back, I still miss that little troll, all 4'10", 85 pounds of him with his gimp leg. He had polio when he was a kid. And I kind of took a liking to the guy, and we became very good friends. I was his fishing buddy on his boat, even though the only thing I could catch was a cold. I really suck at fishing, but it was just fun to get out in the ocean with him on occasion, at least once a week, in good weather. When he died, he had no family, nobody. He went through the foster care system, never knew his real parents. Shortly after he was born, and they knew he had a problem, his parents pretty much abandoned him, And he went through several foster families, and he left everything to me. His boat, his trailer, his truck. He had a pretty nice truck, Ford Ranger, 6-cylinder, nice wheels on it. tires. All his furnishings in his home. That went to Fresh Starter program here for people that got burned out in house fires and other things, people that needed articles, homeless getting sheltered, and they needed furniture, beds, couch, you name it. That all went to there. The boat, trailer, his truck, I sold it. Between everything, I got $28,000. I gave that to the VTH. My father was big on property. Invest in property, invest in property. They owned a few homes when they passed. Went to me, my brother, and my sister. They were all paid for it. The home they lived in, we sold it. We got over $200,000 for it. We split it 3 ways. The other 3 rental properties. 2 were 2-family, first floor and a second floor. Each one brought in 2 rents, paid for. We sold those 2 houses. We got a pretty good chunk of change for that. We split it 3 ways. I passed a lot of that money along to my 2 daughters to help them out. They got good down payments for their homes. We kept it in the family. The 6th family we kept. That one there brings in $88,000 a year in rent. It's after property tax, insurance, water bill. And we pay a company that takes care of all the yard. And, I admit I don't like cutting grass here. I'm not going to be going there. My brother didn't want to be going there cutting grass. My sister wasn't going to do it. And me and my brother are still contracted with them. They go there in the summer on grass cutting season. Every 2 weeks they go and cut the grass, trim the bushes. In the winter when it snows, someone goes there, clear all the walkways, paths, stairs, put down ice melt so nobody slips and falls. Sues me, and, insurance rates go through the fucking roof. And it's not by the visit. It's a one-price year-round deal. Past few winters, we haven't got a whole lot of snow. It's been cold as a motherfucker, but not a lot of snow, so they didn't have to put in as much work to get the same money. That's okay. We're okay with it. But after everything is said and done, we cleared like $62,500 a year, $62,500 a year after all expenses. And we split it 3 ways. We each got a little over $20,000. When my sister passed in March, that's why there were 7 of these here, because it started in March when my sister passed. Her share now went to me and my brother, and we split it. So we each got an additional $10,000 in change. Well, what I did with my $10,000 is, and I did it in money orders here. And yes, it's for tax purposes. Yes, it's for tax purposes. Every month. And I do this in the name of my sister. Now, this is my money. This is my fucking money. It's coming out of my pocket. I don't know if you can see. Where is it? Some of these are lighter than others, the way it printed. Each one is $900. I give $900 a month to the VTH out of my pocket. And I'll continue to every month. And over the course of a year, it'll be an extra, $1,800 that I will cover myself, once again, out of my own pocket. I don't win an award for this. I don't have a plaque on my wall. I do it because I want to. The way Frank and Gary do it, they are able to when they are able to, when they do it out of their own pocket, and just because they want to do it. With no expectation of any glorification, any praise, any trophy, any plaque to hang on a wall to brag about. And even this is not the issue that I brought up. Yet someone else chose, once again, to deflect and distract attention away from and not want to discuss the issue of, people with a heart full of hate. Oh, but look at all the good I do. It's like I said, you can have a rotten bastard living next door to you, but as long as they're not rotten to you, you think they're okay and you can agree with them, that says just as much about your character as it does about that person's character. These are the things they don't want to address. They chose to address the good they do and kind of brag on themselves and talk about awards and, you know, and all the money that goes is not coming from their pocket. And I could get into another area that we'll be getting into soon now. I'm already in the Christmas spirit season. But as we get closer, what a lot of us in clubs do, and it happens around the country, you know, we help kids get toy donations. Thanksgiving, we get supermarkets and donate turkey, stuffing, dressing, all the fixings for a Thanksgiving dinner for a family that's poor. And a lot of us on motorcycles are not just, a bunch of drunken idiots that are cooking meth in a bathtub and riding around kicking car doors in and looking to start a fight everywhere we go. I know there are some of them, different cultures in different parts of the country. But in New England or on the East Coast here, a bit more civilized. And we do a lot. We have our poker runs. We get together with other clubs. The year before COVID, we organized one with us, a few chapters from New Hampshire, one from Connecticut, a couple from Rhode Island. And we had a poker run. We even had the Blue Knights join in. Retired police officers, law enforcement. That was funny, riding with a bunch of cops. Between all of us, there were about 350 of us. We raised $28,000. It went to Wounded Warriors. We've had other small events that are put on that raise $2,000, $3,000 here and there. We do it because we want to. We know it's helping. There's a lot I could talk about. There are a lot of things I could talk about. And in some ways, I haven't even begun to scratch the surface. But it's just to make a point. The issue is about people that just poor character with their hate. They wish death on people. They'd like to see bad things happen to people that they just don't want in this country for their own personal reasons. That was the issue. The issue that was avoided. The same way as Sanford's pickle sniffers when I talk about things that they don't want to talk about. Because they know it's the fucking truth. They'll deflect and distract. Well, this was a distraction and deflection used by someone, to talk about all the good they do. Well, you're not alone, pal. A lot of other people do a lot of good for a lot of other people. Have a great Tuesday.